Celebrate our nation, our future, Uganda, and believe in the beautiful game of football in Uganda. We believe in our mother body. Fufa, Fufa. When the boys and girls aspire to become stars, of the Uganda cranes and the crested cranes and the sun cranes. Come on, our fans, our gallant fans, our sponsors, our dear government to support the beautiful game. One tribe, one family, one religion, one nation. It is our game, it's our country, it's our joy, it's our nation. The past and present stars, the fallen and living heroes, the coaches and referees, the players and the officials make this game. One tribe, one family, one religion, one nation. It is our game, it's our country, it's our joy, it's our nation.
Hello, fantastic afternoon to you viewers, wherever you're catching us live from. I would like to say thank you so much for actually watching Sunrise TV, and it's a really very big pleasure that you're following us, whatever you could be. We are so humble to see that you are part of us. This is the sports desk whereby we give you exclusive analysis in the world of sports. My name is Senior Zero, the host of the show. I do have my colleague and my brother from the same land, from the same region that we do come from. In the name of our Bona PJ today with me in the show. Remember, we are supposed to be broadcasting for you the game between St. George's College Ombaci and Mvara, actually senior secondary school in there. But the game has flopped off, and why it has flopped off? To be giving you the regions to deal in here. And Mo Salah, Mo Saban is back to home. Are we seeing him going abroad again? Or are we seeing him remaining put with Uganda Cranes? Remember, Team Medical Calvary has got a new CEO, which I'll also be talking about that actually at the in there. Remember, the big one is tomorrow, 10 p.m. East African time, between PSG up against a team in the name of Chase Football Club. First things first, let me first introduce my brother and at the same time my colleague in the journalism sector in the name of Bona PJ into the studios of Sunrise TV. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, Jero. I want to say thank you very much for this very particular pleasure to be live on Sunrise TV. I can confirm to you it is the first of its kind, and I believe the feeling is absolutely going to be different.
Yeah.
But trust me, we're going to give our best. But first things first, like you said, locally we have a number of good stories making headlines.
Yeah.
And I can confirm to you one big one. One of our schools within this very particular region is doing amazingly well. Each time they represent this very particular region at national level, you'll definitely believe and trust them that they will come back victorious or with something to say, yes, we did our best and we have come with something. And that is Oasis Primary School. And I can confirm to you in the recent game they went in, if I'm talking about the girls team that got the chance to play in, that is in what we call the national championship held in Teba. That was in Kayunga district. They emerged the champions over the 2025 that is games at that very particular category. That means the team is going to as well represent Uganda in what we call the FIASA Games. When I talk of FIASA Games, this is the Federation of East African Schools Sports Association, and that means this very particular games, or this edition's games, are going to be taking place down in Kakamega in Kenya. So specifically, I can confirm to you, this is one of the schools, and this is reminding me or us about the recently concluded Odilo tournament that did take place at Leju Town Council. I'm talking about the stadium that side, because if you talk about the schools that are going to represent us in both boys and girls categories, you'll definitely still mention Oasis Primary School, especially this time in the ladies category. They were the champions, and the champions of the boys category is none other than Blessed Junior, that comes from Maracha district. That means this time we have a new figure at that very particular level, because most of the times, or those days, or previously, we used to see Oasis going on both sides. And I believe you equally is very happy and very optimistic about this, because it's all about getting that exposure, getting that experience, because it is going to be the first of its kind that a school from Maracha is going to represent West Nile at that very particular level of the Odilo tournament at national level. I believe each and every other person who love the beautiful game of football, who would love to see our boys and girls exposed, their talents being nurtured, will definitely appreciate this very particular move.
All right, a very comprehensive update from Bona PJ in there. But I think talking about the what is school actually in there, this is a school not being so much actually followed actually within actual Western when it's come to playing games in here. Remember, it has been the dominance of Rivalry and this school in the names of what's in there. This school is being the powerhouse of late actually in Arua here when it comes to the ball games in here. But good one team in the names of what is in there. But let's first talk about this school. What is the agenda of this school? This school seems to be making amends when it comes to making Western proud in football. And this is not the first time that this school will be represented actually Western in FIASA games. Actually, generally Uganda in FIASA games down in at East African level.
Jero, there's one thing that I believe if the rest of the schools would follow in Oasis, to see that the different categories, special sporting disciplines, are to be taken to that level, is investment. You know, this is one school that has invested so much into football, always games and sports. Because if you go to where the school is located, they have a decent football pitch for both boys and girls. This is where you will see them do it anytime they want. And prioritizing, you know, when you don't prioritize something, definitely you will never perform, always take it serious. So that means there's that day in, day out time that is given for them players. And number two, they source the talents from different angles. If you talk about Oasis, this is a school that has given bursaries for a number of players. Whenever they identify that very particular talent, they will get closer to this kind of player and find out where the player comes from. At the end of the day, they make the player part of the school, and that is still about investment. And then one thing that I've loved about them, and that many schools are not doing, is also trying to do everything possible to see that they balance it with academics. You know, it is Ministry of Education and Sports. That means a player that is taken there to play should as well perform, because a child will not want to, or a parent will not want to invest so much in a place where the child is not going to benefit on both sides. And that is one thing that the school Oasis is giving for the players, and that is motivating them so much. So I believe given the chance for the rest of the schools to as well invest, to as well find those coaches or as talented people to nurture these talents, I can confirm to you, they don't rely on the games teachers. They have specific people who are knowledgeable, who have acquired that very particular level of being a coach, especially for that category of people or as children. That is why they are doing everything possible, and they are flourishing very well whenever they take part in any sporting activity, and specifically to talk about the football bit of it. And one unique thing about them is that they don't discriminate any gender. That's why here we're talking about both boys and girls. 2 pitches, one for the girls team, one for the boys team. You can see the kind of love and the kind of balance they're trying to put for the both genders at the school. So I believe if this is copied by many or all the schools we have in this very region, definitely we're not going to only talk about Oasis, but time will come we shall have to talk about schools like Royal Hill Primary School. We shall talk about a certain school in Yumbe called the Lochongbo Primary School. We shall as well talk about schools like Okuvuru Primary School. Anyway, just mentioning any other school, because definitely they will reach that level of where Oasis is right now. So specifically and basically, I want to base my agreement in the fact that there are a lot of things that schools need to copy from Oasis primary schools to see that they as well get that very particular opportunity to go outside.
And remember, this is not the first time that Oasis Football Club is going for such kind of actual tournaments. They remember in 2017, they as well go into that kind of competition whereby they were ejected actually in the semi-finals in there. Well, back in 2017 again, they are here to make Western proud again. So we're going to see whether Oasis will be important to make amends actually at that tournament. Remember, it's Coach Mawa who is actually at the helm of the team of Oasis. Remember, he has got some of his other trainees in the names of Seti and Godi, who formerly worked with Rua Hill actually into the team of Oasis in there. So interesting to talk about that. But PJ, let's first talk about the game that happened between, that was supposed to take place between St. Joseph's College Ombaci and a school in the names of Mvara Senior Secondary School. You remember, these are the biggest schools here in Arua City, and they are what we call the traditional schools in Western Island when it comes to football in there. And the prestigious tournament of the Fufa TV games were supposed to turn back officially today here in Western Island, but all of a sudden, this game has been called off due to Mvara Senior Secondary School actually saying that they are not comfortable of playing against the team in the names of St. Joseph's College Ombaci. What an embarrassment from Mvara Senior Secondary School.
An embarrassment indeed, and it's so unfortunate that this game did not take place. If you talk about these two schools, like you said, they're one of the traditional schools somebody will ever talk about when it comes to when they were established and where they have reached right now, sportingly, how good they are, how they have been representing this very particular region. That is to talk about Mvara and a team that is Ombaci Secondary School. But I think there's one thing that we need to change in this very particular region, because each time the two schools comes head to head, you will definitely see that kind of fracas. You will see hooliganism. You will see kind of indiscipline that will always pop in. So I believe there was some fear. Anyway, it is down to us to get deeper into why this game did not take place, because according to the little we actually got from some reliable sources that Mvara has actually decided not to go in for this very particular game because they are fearing what will come in the due course of the game, because of late during the athletics period, these are two schools that as well clashed. So I believe there's that fear. And I believe the administration as well might have thought wise to say don't go for this very particular game because of the previous or the initial records the two schools had. So I believe there's one thing we need to understand about the game of football. Football is a unifying factor. We look at it like a space or a place of building that kind of relationship, that good relationship you'll ever had. That's where you would meet your OB maybe at primary level at that very particular time. But this time, it's the opposite. So I believe there's one thing that we need to change. That is all about trying to understand the beautiful game of football, knowing that it has its rules. You know, sometimes I would love to caution the fans than the players, because most of the times all this fracas is brought about by the fans, not really the players. I don't know how best we can curb this in our region, and if you talk about other regions, this has never been the case, and it is one thing that is trying to kill the talent we have in West Nile. It is one thing that has darkened the image of the schools we have in West Nile, and specifically even the players, because a player would wholeheartedly want to play and also want to bring out the kind of talent he or she has. At the end of the day, is prevented maybe by stopping the player going up in front. I want to take our brains back to what happened at Maracha District. As we talk right now, the athletics is not taking place, or they are not going to take part in athletics just because of the previous records. You know, Maracha Senior Secondary School was banned. They're supposed to serve their ban for like 4 years. And this time they have come out saying that we want to take part in athletics. And our ban begins next year. I don't know where they got the information from. And that is how the management has ended up stopping the athletics that side. I don't know if that is the best option they would have gone in for, stopping it completely. But I think Jero, specifically focusing on this game that did not take place, it's actually a bad thing to the players, because we saw how beautiful these games were played last season when Team St. Charles Luanga went up to the finals. Is it the finals or semi-finals?
They went up to the quarters.
They went up to the quarters. I think they were the best team this side, and that's the reason as to why they are not being put in the fixers or in the groupings of the group stages, because they are believed to be one of the best teams last season,
Yes.
so that they can be able to join the rest of the schools in the last 32. So, generally, I want to say this about these schools we have. There's a lot that the different stakeholders need to do when it comes to organizing these very games. One is the masses. I may not mention them one after the other, but I think in large share, I want to say that there's a lot we need to do as the stakeholders in this region when it comes to organizing this kind of games, because we're going to kill the talent of our boys and girls within this very region. Number two, schools that would be able to expose themselves or get that kind of exposure will be limited, because right now the ruling definitely is going to be Mvara did not turn up for this very game. That means there's that possibility that the 3 points will just freely be given to Ombaci Secondary School.
Let me come in a little bit, and before you come in, let me actually give you some of actual insights that I got from both schools. I got information from St. John's College Ombaci. Remember, we were live out from the field of St. John's College Ombaci, and these boys were training there, and they were waiting for Mvara Secondary to come in there, but Mvara never saw it up. Actually, this game was supposed to lie here on the TV screens, but unfortunately, due to its actual stopover, we couldn't actually broadcast for you the game live here. And the statement that I got from St. John's College Ombaci is that they were willing to play, but this school of Mvara Secondary decided to write to Fufa that they are not capable of playing against their St. John's College Ombaci. If it's supposed to be another team is, or another school is, they were supposed to be in position to play. So it's embarrassing the secondary school who wrote direct to Fufa House to see that this game is not played. And this is something which has just been happening between these two schools within West Nile, and it has gone to national level, and it's already in Fufa House. What does this one mean?
But I think that isn't the rightful reason they would have given, because the fact remains, if these two teams go into this very particular tournament and play very well, there's that possibility that they will still meet at a certain level. Assuming these two teams go up to the finals, what do you think will happen? Will Mvara still say we don't want to play Ombaci because we have problems with them?
No, but the rate is only one team is supposed to go through within West Nile. Only one team is supposed to go.
Anyway, they have actually, to me, gone wrong, because you can't put the schools in the same region, in the same group, because we want to see who is big. And that is the reason as to why, if I'm to bring in a knowledge from Europe, that is talk about maybe the UEFA Champions League. We have several times seen Man City drawn in a different group, then Chelsea drawn in a different group. Anyway, just giving a hint or as an example with those two. Then at the end of the day, we see them meet. In a certain season, we saw Team Spurs meeting in the finals with Team Manchester City.
Yes.
Yeah, that was when Man City beat them. These are two teams that came in from England, or that are from England. So basically, I would really love to see it that way. From the group stages, these teams are separated in different groups, so that at the end of the day, at a certain good point, at a certain good moment, we see them meet in the finals.
Yeah, that could be one of the biggest actually observations from you there. But let's first talk about the step that has been taken by Mvara Senior. Remember, the chaos has been between these two schools. Of course, we all know at general in Ero City, and it's always been alleged that the chaos that happened in the athletics, the chaos that happened in the game of football, is always because of the fracas that these students always involve themselves into. But now, Mvara Senior Secondary School has now turned actually these games down, and this is actually a game that Mvara Senior Secondary School actually most benefits from these schools. Remember, Mvara is one of the Fufa recognized national school. That's actually see that once your child is talented and this child is supposed to play at Mvara Senior Secondary School, but again, they brought the Fufa. So it will not be a very big embarrassment. And taking the far seems to be one of the biggest ones. Remember, this game was supposed to be today between St. John's College Ombaci and Mvara Senior Secondary School. It never actually went actually successful there, so this game was called off. So we are waiting to see the actual result that Fufa will be released in regard to that game. And then the other game will be tomorrow between St. Aloysius College in Yapia up against St. John's College Laipi of Guru. This game will be down actually in Greater Aluru Sub-region. This game will be at 3 p.m. tomorrow. Everyone watching us live from Navy, watching us from Paida, watching us from Pakwati, you need to come around and support these schools. Remember, these are our own schools. Football is here to unite. Football is here to actually bring us together. So come in and support these schools in there. Before we talk about the Calvary story, PJ, let's first talk about the story of Mohamed Saban. Remember, he went to Libya and he's finally back. His contract has been terminated at Libya. So finally, Mo Saban is back to the country, and we are here to see where he's going next. And there were offers for him. NEC was actually looking for his services. And remember, NEC will be playing in what we call the CAF Confederation National Cup winner regime there. So NEC we are currently interested in his services, but Mo Saban says he needs 200 million Ugandan shillings as his sign-on fee, and again 10 million Ugandan shillings as his salary in there. What's next for Mo Saban?
One interesting player, one of the most decorated player we have in this very particular region of West Nile, and you'll talk of him being one of the inspirational players, because a lot of young men and women would love to play like Mohamed Saban, would love to go out there and also write his or her name in the books of being one of the players coming from this very region. But I think talking about Mohamed Saban, at a certain point you'll definitely believe with me that he's one of the proven strikers in Ugandan football, or is in Uganda right now. Based on the fact that he has been successful some time back, and with some ups and downs, especially when he got injured at a certain point. His game went down, not until he came back to Nduparaka Football Club to revive his glorious moments of maybe getting 2-3 goals in a game. Not also only that, he had to now leave West Nile to go outside the country to see that he make money, and he also made name. So I think him getting his contract terminated to me is not at the right time, because we still expected him to be outside doing the best he can do in the outside world of football before coming back. But I think him being one of the best strikers we have right now in the Ugandan football, also coming back means there's something he also need to do, because with these ups and downs, you expect a player to have gone outside, maybe get better opportunities and proceed from there, not really coming back. So I look at him as somebody who has made name, but we still expect more name to be made from him, because this is a player who has got some money. This is a player who would love to still do it for the national team. This is a player who still has a lot to deliver for somebody who loves to watch him play. But I think coming back home, he won't be running out of options, because he understands the beautiful game of football and he knows the strength of Ugandan football. NEC Football Club, talking about him, would be a very good option for him, but I believe NEC has made some good and bad decisions at the same time, because they have let go a number of players. You'll talk about Coach Rasid, who played a very big role last season to see that the team NEC finished second. You'll still talk about a player in the names of is that Tendele Gerga? Yeah, who has equally left the club and signed in for a team from South Sudan, that is Jamus Football Club. And other players that I want to mention right now. But I believe Mohamed Saban going to NEC Football Club won't make him flourish so fast, because I think the first thing NEC would have done is to maintain some of those players who had played with Saban before, and then they would come to him and say, "We want your services," and definitely he would flourish. And then NEC isn't the only club talking about Mohamed Saban. We also have rumor. I mean, we also got rumors from URA that they also need the services of Mohamed Saban. So I believe Mohamed Saban really needs to sit down with his agents and do something better when it comes to marketing him, because at his age, at the age of 27 or 28, around there, he should have been consistent, maybe play 2-3 seasons for a club, and this is what we are not seeing in Mohamed Saban. Plays some months or half a season or is a season, then you see him going to another club and so on. This is an irregularity that I believe, if at that age can be able to settle at one club, will actually help him better to break some records or to create some history before his retirement. So I believe, yeah, Mohamed Saban is not bad at the moment, but I believe he needed to do better, especially in keeping some consistency in one club and trying to do everything possible to see that he writes history and he continues to break records or make records for the next generation to follow.
Before Peter actually ask for you the next question, let's first talk about the journey that actually this guy picked. And I started with the Royal Public Secondary School here within Western Line. He crossed over to Prague State with the team put. He went to KCCA. I think never from there, from KCCA he crossed over. I think never worked out well for him.
Yep.
He came back to Uganda. He came back to Prague. Then from Prague, then he again crossed over to KCC. From KCC he crossed over to Vipers. Then from Vipers he crossed over to another team in there. So looking at the journey of Mohamed Saban, it has been more of here and there. And what does this one need for actually a player of a national interest? And this is someone who is supposed to be by now the leading goal scorer actually for Uganda Cranes in there. You remember in Uganda here we don't have reliable strikers. You could talk about all players like Kennedy Parikadu. He's kind of edged up. We have got Jurusemi Gabi. These are the players that we thought that Mohamed Saban is kind of ahead of them, but with the fragile that he's having to do, I think his chance to play for the national team is kind of limited.
Limited indeed, and that's the same thing I think I hinted earlier on, like him not spending much time in a specific club, always making that decision. I want to maybe do my best within my country is one decision that he has failed to make before, but I believe this time he will be able to sit down and address that. I think getting him to be a national figure, maybe always to be summoned, that aspect of keeping some consistency is one thing that would favor him, based on the fact that you have just hinted that Uganda is lacking strikers, those proven strikers who do better than him. In fact, this would be his opportunity to say, yes, I'm the only reliable person, and whenever given the chance, I will be able to do it. We did see him do that during the AFCON qualifiers. He did very well. Whenever he was in the pitch, you will see that kind of player, and especially when he's partnered with players like Alan Okello, Denis Omedi, you see that kind of combination, and you love to see them play more and more. So I believe it's only one thing for him at the age of 27 or 28 at this time, to settle down and maybe have some consistency, and he will definitely do something for Uganda, and he will become the savior, and it will actually be the interest of the manager, that is Paul Put, because Paul Put is one manager who has actually been one instrumental person who summoned players out of sometimes merit, you will believe with me, comparing him to the likes of Micho Sredovic, who would want to just summon players based on some particular interest, maybe influence from some particular people in the board. So basically, that is how best Mohamed Saban can get himself into a certain level that people will say, yes, Mohamed Saban is the Saban we have from West Nile.
All right, let's first talk about Team Calvo Football Club. Remember, this team is already promoted to the Star Times Uganda Premier League come next season. They will be the only team representing West Nile in the Star Times Uganda Premier League, and we are so proud of the team. And again, they have gone ahead to acquire a new CEO in the name of Joe Gaddafi. Remember, Joe Gaddafi has been one of the superior journalists that we do have in the game of football here in West Nile. He used to write for Rubber Sports. I know him very well of that, and at the same time, he is a football administrator. Then he also serves as a lawyer by profession. That's Joe Gaddafi for you. And he goes into that team of Calvert Football Club, knowing very well that this is the maiden season in the Southern Ghana Premier League. He goes into that team with a huge expectation and a huge pressure to see that he signs good players, he signs actually good coaches to see that this team remains longer in Southern Ghana Premier League in there.
Wow.
Your observation about it. This guy's moved to
Joe Gaddafi, one of my good friends, personal friend, I should say, because I've so much interacted with him. He's one person who can inspire you, who would tell you what is best when it comes to living our life. But I think getting that opportunity should be one of the biggest in his career, especially football. And again, being social to people is going to add some flair, or it's going to be an advantage that Calvary is going to capitalize on. And the kind of exposure he has got is one thing that will also help Team Calvary Football Club and himself as well to see that he stay longer at the club. Giroud, I think talking about Calvary Football Club, basically I will say these are some of the things we expected out of them, especially when they got that opportunity to go to the Startimes Ghana Premier League. Remember, this is their first ever season and to play in the Startimes Ghana Premier League. Being the first of its kind means they need people to come on ground, especially experienced people, especially when you talk about the board. They need to have people who are experienced, who understand Startimes Ghana Premier League very well. They need players who have experience that I believe with the presence of Joe Gaddafi, they are going to start doing recruitments of players to add something, to add some experience of Startimes Ghana Premier League in the previous players. I think, you hinted when we were offline, saying they're actually looking at the services of Ahmed Borini, who some time back had a time with the Royal Sports Club, and at a time when Doparka was about to be relegated, they were able to request his services, and he also proved to be that very particular coach. And of late, we saw him last season with the Team Police Football Club.
Yeah.
I think that is one experienced player, and being the son of the soil will equally do something big and better for Team Calvary Football Club. And this is what we're waiting to see under the man, Joe Gaddafi, being the CEO of the club, or the new CEO. So I believe there's a lot that we're expecting that we cannot speak right now about him, because this is also his first time to be a CEO of a big club like Calvary Football Club. You know, how that is, or how that feels, because you need to sit down, strategize better, and try to, it's going to be like trial and error method. You need to try things out, because you can only say yes, they are doing what they did before in the second season or the third season, because there you will talk on the kind of experience they had in the previous season. But since that has never been the case, we need to give him the time and want to see what best, the kind of players he's going to bring in, the kind of new innovations he's going to bring in to Team Calvary Football Club. But I think one thing about Calvary I want to say is it will be a very good thing for them to play their games at home, because a lot of discussions are going, should they bring their games at Ababet or somewhere else, because Midgo is down there. Then the answer definitely will be, did they qualify from a different venue? It was from the same home venue, that is a Cassiano Stadium down in Midgo, that they were able to play all their Fufa Big League games. But I think still about Calvary, they have very many advantages, and I believe with those kind of advantages, like they have a transport means, there you will not talk about, they have they equally have some funders from outside, financial, they're not doing bad. That means they're a team to talk about, a team that I believe, if strategized better, given in the hands of people with brain, who have seen far, who can sit down and come up with concrete decisions, will be able to stay in the league for quite a long time.
We have seen CEOs actually being harassed here in West Nile. With the project has happened.
The club as well.
Yes, at the Rua Hill it also happens. Most of it has happened to one person, in my own view, and I've kind of witnessed this with my eyes. Tony has been one of the CEOs within that who have got in the region, who was kind of harassed by Alfred Lek. We remember he's actually moved from Rua Hill to Zanzibar, kind of coaches actually CEO in the names of Tony in the kind of. Remember, he wanted his money to be paid all before actually he's transferred to Zanzibar in there, but he had issues with Tony in there. But are we going to see the same fracas happening with our own from Western in the names of Joe Gaddafi? Remember, he is a very humble guy, and are we going to see him working hand in hand with another CEO in the names of Papito David? Remember, he is supposed to have his vice chairman in there, so he's supposed to work with he's supposed to be the senior CEO, and then the vice has to be there. Are we seeing Papito David also crossing over to Rivalry, because he is also a certified CEO? Remember, he has worked with the Arrow Football Club in there before they were relegated to the 4th Division League. Are we seeing Papito David also crossing over to Medico? Remember, they are in good times with Joe Gaddafi.
It's a possibility. Anything can still happen. Like you have just hinted, that these are two guys who have been together, who have been sharing ideas. So that possibility is actually very high, and it will depend on the board of Calvary, and it will depend on Joe Gaddafi, because obviously at that level, when you're given the opportunity, they will still ask for your opinion.
Yeah.
Whom do you think can work best with you?
And remember, these are two journalists.
Exactly.
Who understand the game of football.
Definitely. So that is how I'm seeing it, like a high possibility of Devgan crossing and working hand in hand with Joe Gaddafi. You hinted something concerning not only Devgan. When it pops in, I will be able to say something about that. But basically, the two working together. Anyway, you hinted something about the harassment that may probably come in the due course of his work at Calvary. I want to say this. It goes down to how best the people, the fans, the board of Calvary Football Club understand the rules of the game. Because sometimes, there are particular people, or there are particular set of people who always cause such kind of things, because we need here to go professionally now.
Yeah.
Like I hinted, these are two men who had never worked at that level. Whereas this is a man. Here I'm now talking about the confirmed one, Joe Gaddafi himself. He had never worked at that level, and it's his first time. I believe more time given for him will be the best option. If at all such kind of irregularities will come, it shouldn't be the first season. The first season should be given for him to try how best he can be able to do things. Then in the second season, then the third season, if he is unable to. But I think when worse comes to worse, then they will burst and do whatever thing they want, either to say we don't want him, and that can only be if he will not do what is expected. At the end of the day, we see the club falling in the first season. But in case he's going to do something better, maybe in the first season, finish in the middle of the table, I think their trust will be built, more time will be given for him. I don't see that coming in the first season of his service.
Let's hope the priority for Carabao Football Club is that they remain in the league for a longer period of time. Once you are in that level, you have to be conscious also about yourself in there. Remember, it's only on the Football Club who stayed longer in the times of Premier League history, right here from West Nile, and they're waiting to see whether Carabao Football Club will be staying longer in the times of Premier League. But the Black Lions tried once; they only remained after they only played for one season, so they are currently back and they are playing. They played in the what we call the for big league in there. So we are going to see whether Rivalry will be making us very proud here. So the other team that have kind of need actually CEOs here. One of them seems to be like the Black Angel. I know they have got their CEO, but currently we do have Papito Devgan here. You can as well come for his services. Remember, Team Nevisan Football Club has newly actually qualified, so they also need a certified CEO to take the team to the next level in there. And then Ontobraka is as well here. We all know their CEO. Ontobraka and Team Total, they share the same CEO. So we surely need a CEO who understands, a CEO who is very flexible. Papito Devgan is always here. Come for him. And I'm kind of giving some kind of marketing for him, but
no, sometimes sometimes we need to give credit where it's due. He deserves whatever thing you're saying. because we also want to see our teams do better,
Of course.
especially in the hands of people we understand better. Because somebody out there maybe does not know him, and saying something about him will make him go deeper, maybe dig deeper about who Devgan is, what he's capable of doing, what are his weaknesses, and what are his strengths. So there I don't see you've gone off. Yeah.
All right, it's fine. Let's first talk about the biggest game that will be coming up actually tomorrow, 10 p.m. East Africa time. It will be all actually and European winners affair. It will be between UEFA Champions League winners, PSG, up against UEFA Conference League winners, Chelsea Football Club, and AIDS, Enzo Maresca, up against Luis Enrique. It's Vitina up against Enzo Fernandez, and we are yet going to see who will come on top in this game. PJ, what's your opinion about the general view of these two teams, PSG and Chelsea?
Not so much. I want to say this. PSG coming against team Chelsea Football Club, following the trend, always how they moved through in order to reach the finals. You'll definitely believe with me that PSG had an easy ride over big teams that would have given him bloody nose. But at the end of the day, they found it very easy. PSG, I should say, right now is at the highest peak of their performance. Because you can't rule out the fact that they have a very tactical manager in the names of Luis Enrique, who sometime back played for Real Madrid, played good football. Many thought he would have mercy on Real Madrid. At the end of the day, beat them 4-0 in the semi-finals to see that they got into the finals. So I believe this very game has come at a time when Enzo Maresca will as well want to prove that, yes, I'm a manager and I can do good things at an unexpected time. Because when we did not see them go through Team Real Betis in the finals of Europa Conference League, they were able to do it, and they became victorious. Just like team that is PSG against a certain stubborn Arsenal Football Club who eliminated Real Madrid, were able to cruise past. And coming back to the head-to-head between these two sides, you'll definitely believe with me that in the last 5 so-called games that the two teams had, you'll definitely think PSG had a better run, because in 2016, in the UEFA Champions League final stage, we did see Team PSG beating, that is, Chelsea Football Club by 2-1. And of course, in still Champions League, that was that same year, in the final stage, in the league final stage, we also see them beat Chelsea by 2-1. And before that, in 2015, they played 1-1 draw, and that was when PSG was eliminated through aggregate. That was in the North America, that was Champions Cup. So those are some of the things that we shall have to look at. And before that, in 2015 as well, March 11th, we did see them playing a 2-2 draw. So out of the 5 so-called games, at least PSG won twice, and Chelsea did not win. So basically, looking at this previous run, you'll say, yes, the odds favor Team PSG Football Club. And again, talking about the goal margin that the Team PSG had against the teams they meet previously before reaching this stage, you'll also think, yes, they are the team to talk about. And looking at the team, the kind of team that PSG has right now, if you compare it with Chelsea team, you'll definitely think Team PSG has better players when it comes to energy, when it comes to physique, when it comes to brilliancy. You'll talk about a certain Donnarumma, who is top notch this time for Team PSG, doing everything possible to see that PSG win more trophies. And if you talk about their midfield, you'll never forget to talk about Vitinha's partnership with Ruiz, not forgetting Neves. These are prolific midfielders. And if you talk about PSG's game, you'll definitely begin to enjoy it from the midfield and up front, because Vitinha is just there to control and to see that there's no much pressure in the goalkeeper. I mean, with the goalkeeper and the central defenders. And definitely you see that kind of mobility, always that kind of easy movement of the attackers and the striker to see that they get that very goal. And one thing that I believe is favoring Team PSG is that there's no player that they say is the player to rely on, because at a time you'll expect Ousmane Dembele to be in the game. You'll find Luis Enrique putting him on bench and bringing him as a substitute. We did witness that in the UEFA Champions League final. We did witness that in the semi-final game against the team Bayern Munich. He was on the bench. He came in and got in that very last particular goal to see that the game was 1-2 So I believe these are some of the areas, angles where Chelsea will have to be very careful. And one thing we also need to understand is that there's what we call luck in the game of football.
Yes.
Luck is what I believe will make Chelsea win this. If at all it's going to favor them or it's going to be on their side. Because looking at their team, Robert Sanchez, sometimes you see him make those blunders at a time you don't expect him to do. And sometimes, the coach, tactically, you'll find he goes wrong, where you will see him trusting Chalobah and Colwill in the midfield, in the central defense, when you'd expect certain Chalobah and I'm kind of forgetting this player.
Gusto.
Not Malo Gusto as such. I'm talking about when the name gets in, I will be able to let you know.
Rich James.
No, Rich James is a right back. Yeah, he's a right back.
You're talking of
in the central defense. I'm talking
Colwill.
about Colwill is actually supposed to be a player that would come in when things do not go well. The player he partnered against. Exactly. So these are some of the errors you'll find the man making whenever you'll expect him to do better substitution. And again, where Palmer is not at his best, you will see Chelsea lacking a lot of things. And I believe today the eyes will be on the newly signed player, that is Pedro Neto, who had one of the best games in the semi-final, getting those goals was one absolute thing that very many people enjoyed, and they were like, yes, this is a player that has been signed, who has experience, who has everything it takes to see that Chelsea gets to where they are. So I believe this favors Team PSG, to my own opinion, but don't rule out the fact that there's luck.
All right, the viewers are kind of very, very interesting here, and there's so many people who are viewing us currently. Here, actually following those who are currently live from. Thank you so much. Remember, this show is proudly sponsored by Sabirima Global Ventures Limited. They are the sole sponsors of this show. You can always call us on 0393 228209 for business. Always reach us, and then it will be important to see that we give actual mileage for your business in there. So many people are watching us live. I'm so humbled to see that all these numbers are hooked to us. That's watching Sunrise TV. Peter, let me ask you a tactical ability about this game. Analyzing PhD from the word go, from the word ends, from the defense actual setup. Remember, Nuno Mendes is so unbendable in that team. It says PhD.
Yeah.
We have got Ashraf Hakimi on from Africa, very influential for Team PhD. Then that's actually shadow defense partnership of Marquinhos, very experienced alongside Bradley. Remember, Hernandez and William Pacho are out for Team PSG in there, so definitely you'll be seeing that partners that worked against Real Madrid will be facing, off against Chelsea in there. Then talking about the midfield trio of Team PSG, they kind of playing what we call, if you look at Team PSG technically, they seem to be playing back three at the back, but when they actually line up in a 4-3-3 formation, but technically they are playing 3-5-2 formation. That's PSG for you. So Luis Enrique is not actually an easy coach to deal with, and he has got those type of players at his disposal. So let's first compare these teams here and there. So let's pick your attention about the defense setup, then compare the same with Chelsea. Remember, you have already compared the midfield setup already. So these players are also fighting hard to see that they win what we call the top scorers actually going in there. One of them is Ashraf Hakimi. He seems to be one of the reliable players for Team PSG in there. So aggressive when it comes to going forward. So actually solid when it comes to dropping back to go and defend the ball. So also much actually aggressive when it comes to going into the midfield and supporting the midfield to see that the midfield comes 5 to see that the team is kind of compact in every aspect.
Jero, when you talk about the defense of these two teams, one big fact you will have to agree with me is that Angel Maresca has that kind of decision sometimes that doubting, because you are going to have, in case he goes in for Rhys James as a left back, a shallow back, partner in Colwill and Cucurella, you'll definitely think this is not all that experienced defense you will rely on. That will definitely face a very prolific striker in the names of Dembele in case he's going to start. Varaskelia is one person you will never forget to talk about when it comes to the aggressiveness of getting into the box to get in that very particular goal, or giving him that space to giving that very killing pass that Dembele might count on. Then you still have the Shure Dua, who is also very prolific, aggressive. You will kind of see that kind of mobility. You will see him in the middle, sometimes going to the right hand side, to also see that he gets something. But I think meeting or coming head to head with this kind of this defense of Chelsea, like I said, you will never you will never disagree with me that Chelsea's defense is not all that superb. Chelsea so much will defend. Will so much rely on the brilliance of Caicedo and Fernandes. If at all they will be able to do their best. In case they will so much be moving up front, trust me, Chelsea will swallow more than 3 goals in this final, because you need that brilliance of Caicedo at his good times, because sometimes you also see how he will miss those balls, you'll see how he will make those blind passes and so on. So I believe this won't happen since it is a finals. And now comparing it with the likes of Jorge Mendes, Beraldo, Manquinos, Hakimi, like you hinted, Hakimi is one player. At a point you don't expect him to score, will get for you that goal. At a time you don't expect him to be within the box, he's there. At a time you expect him to be in the midfield, he's already where he's supposed to be. So he's very versatile, he's very aggressive, like you hinted earlier on. And I believe Beraldo and Marquinhos, smart players, they will definitely outclass the defense of Team Chelsea Football Club. And again, the upfront of Chelsea won't so much threaten them or cause some threat to them.
All right, that's comprehensive analysis that we can give for you about this game. The game will be 10 p.m. tomorrow between these two teams in here. We will come back again here on Monday from 6 to 7 p.m. to give you our observations from that match in there. Just stay hooked to Sunrise TV, and you'll always be chatted with the latest information. So, according to me, I'm seeing Team PSG scoring also 3+ goals against Chelsea. They are not all that solid enough defensively. Their attacking force is not comparable to the one of PSG in my own view. Looking at the midfield setup, Chelsea look to be organized at the middle of the park. Enzo Fernandez, you have Romeo Lavia, and a player in the names of Moses Caicedo. They need to be very technical, otherwise any of them can easily get a red card in that game against PSG. Those are my observations about that game. So let's first talk about the transfers, and the latest is that Arsenal Football Club have signed a player in the names of Nuno Madueke. He is currently with Chelsea Football Club down in US. Actually, he'll be playing in the finals. See that after the finals, definitely he'll be crossing over to Arsenal. He has signed 5-year deal with the Arsenal Football Club already. So the money that Arsenal is supposed to pay Chelsea is worth £52 million. A big deal, or is a bad one for Nuno Madueke?
A very good deal for Noni Madueke, because he's definitely going to have that playing time that he did not have at Team Chelsea Football Club. But I think for Arsenal Football Club, I still have questions. Was he the priority? Is the $1 million question? Yeah. He can get for you 1 or 2 goals, but I think what Arsenal needs right now is that number 9 who will sit in the box and get for you 2-3 goals. Maybe at the end of the season will get for you 20+ goals. Then you are the champions of the English Premier League, or as you put your hands on a major trophy. So that is where I saw Arsenal Football Club should have gone fast before coming in for Noni Madueke. But like I hinted, for Madueke, it's a very good one because he's going to get the playing time. And again, he is as well going to add something that was not there at Arsenal Football Club. But I think Noni Madueke is this person who is versatile. He's a player who can give for you those assists, very aggressive. And again, he can also, through aerial balls, he's very good. And so those are some of the attributes that I believe is going to bring a team Arsenal Football Club from Chelsea Football Club.
Is Madueke going to Arsenal because Chelsea Football Club has signed Estavio already? Is it because they have signed Liam Delap already? Is it because they have signed Yo Pedro into their books? Is it time that Anton Madueke thinks that these are the right players to actually to work hand in hand with him? He is not actually relying so much on Madueke. I think Arsenal surely needs his services, but the reality is these players have already crossed over to Chelsea. Is it because of this guy's presence coming into the team of Chelsea in the pushing Madueke to move to Arsenal? Remember, this is a player who is still 23 years old and he'll be offering a lot for Arsenal Football Club. But remember, he's actually immediate rival who will be Bukayo Saka. Remember, they kind of play in the same position with Bukayo Saka. Are we seeing this guy coming to bench Bukayo Saka, or else he's coming to bench a player in the names of Martinelli, who's attracting interest from Saudi Pro League after leagues in there? Remember, a player in the names of Leandro Trossard, they also thought to be crossing over to Fenerbahce. So we are yet going to see all these fracas happen at Arsenal. And with Madueke coming in, I think he will be a good one for the team as well.
0-1 big fact is Noni Madueke cannot bench Bukayo Saka. That can only happen if he is on bench, maybe he's out injured. Arsenal Football Club right now is a team to talk about because they are going to take part in virtually all the leagues in Europe. You have a certain English Premier League that you need to take part in. You have some energy needed in the UEFA Champions League. You have a certain FA Cup to play. What about Carabao Cup? All this you need. So that definitely means you need to have a squad depth. And bringing in Noni Madueke can never be a reason for Arsenal to sell players, but it should be like any addition to meet that.
But they're saying they're doing what they call squad overhaul. They want to rebuild the team again. So I think Andre Bartes coming into the technical role of the sporting director role in that team of Arsenal seems to be sparking something in that team. Remember, Mikel Arteta really wanted to buy a striker in the names of Benjamin Sesko, but he opted to go for actually a highly rated striker in the names of Victor Gyökeres, who scored around 39 goals last season in Portugal. So, what is Arsenal up for? Are they coming here to see that they make amends and win the Premier League? Are they here to make amends to see that they win the UEFA Champions League? With the project that they seem to be having, they seem to be heading in the right direction. Remember, what is lacking for them is more attack and a striking line in there. So the options they are there. They're talking about Victor Gyökeres, also like you said. They also talks about Berete Eze. These are the players that Arsenal is talking about.
Yeah, those are top-notch players you'll ever talk about, and if at all are brought in your team, you'll definitely smile. But I think, like I hinted earlier on, Arsenal are not just thinking of building the team. They should have first think of how much they had spent before and how they have been challenged, especially at the end of the season, only to miss it out. Because here they needed the priority should have been a striker. Why can't you raise that money that Sporting CP is in need of 70 before spending this 50 plus to bring in a certain Noni Madueke, because that is your priority.
Of course, already Arsenal fans already becoming so aggressive. They are protesting that why are they going for Noni Madueke, but why are they not actually going to the bank and break the bank and they go and sign a striker?
Exactly. So those are the questions where somebody will caution the kind of agenda that Mikel Arteta and his team are trying to come up with to see that they bring in players that are not the priorities that we wanted. Because at a point, I didn't expect them to go for a goalkeeper. They went in for a certain a goalkeeper from Chelsea Football Club. That is Kepa Arrizabalaga. So those are some of the questionable moments that Mikel Arteta and his team has actually ended up in. But I think about Chelsea, they are a smart team when it comes to making money. We all know that. In the English Premier League, you'll see them signing those players cheaply, at the end of the day selling them at high price. Not like Real Manchester United dispersing a lot of money at the end of the day. For example, you bought a certain Jadon Sancho at 70 plus. Now they are talking of 25 million. What kind of business are you doing? Definitely the rules are going to catch up with you, because you need to actually spend more. I mean, you need to earn more than what you spent. It's not that Man U doesn't have money. They have money, but their hands are tied up because they have not been doing a very good business and smart business.
All right, talking about making money. That's just football club. Remember, they have set the asking price on Nicholas Jackson around their 100 million pounds. Nicholas Jackson, our own from Africa, he plays for Nigeria national team. Is Nicholas Jackson worth that amount of money? Is the $1 million question that everyone will be asking? I think he doesn't deserve that in my own view. But let's leave it at that and talk about Liverpool. Liverpool, we all know that they were the champions of the English Premier League, but all of a sudden they did actually lose one of the influential players in the name of Diego Jota. And Liverpool returned to training actually this very week, and everyone at that team of Liverpool seems to be devastated. One of them is Mo Salah, devastated. Van Dijk is as well devastated. Most of the players are kind of devastated for Liverpool. So, what next for Liverpool when it comes to the forthcoming English Premier League? Remember, it's going to be a very tricky one. Teams are signing players here and there. Are we going to see Liverpool struggle with the fact that Diego Jota's death kind of affected the players mentally?
I want to say this. One thing the team will have to believe is that death is part of life, and it will always happen. And you know, when you miss a dear one, when you lose a dear one, you will definitely be affected mentally. But I think by the time the games will resume will be when they are already healed. That is one big fact we need to understand. But I think Chelsea suffering, no. I mean, Liverpool suffering is definitely a no. Because this is a team that has signed top-notch players. After they let go of Trent Alexander-Arnold, they brought in Frimpong. They have added Florian Wirtz. They have added a number of players, and they have not let go many players. So I think what Liverpool is left with is only to bring in that very particular replacement for either Diego Jota and Darwin Núñez in case they let him go. Because there's a possibility that, anyway, they have been talking about letting go Darwin Núñez because he has never proved himself what was expected out of him.
Yeah, Napoli
interested and many other teams. But I think that is the best they can only do. They really need a striker. And even without a striker, we all know what happened last season. Which striker did they have? The top scorer was a winger, the names of Mo Salah. And he was as well the assist king. And with the addition of some of the few goals that Darwin Núñez got, they were still the champions. So I believe there's nothing big that Liverpool is going to suffer from or is going to miss to see that they don't do what we're expecting out of them. I still believe they are going to be the title contenders next season.
Liverpool, for you, that's according to Bona. PJ, our time is up. We need to leave the studio for the next program to come in. This show is probably sponsored by Sabinama Global Ventures Limited. They are the sole sponsors of this episode. We really thank you so much for actually staying hooked actually to this TV, for always following our sports actually analysis in here. We are so proud to see that you are part of us. Around millions of people view this, and I was currently monitoring the situation here on my PC, and it indicates to me that there are a lot of people are viewing this, and we are so proud to see that you guys are always giving us that support, that energy that we are putting on here is courtesy of the people watching us live, wherever you could be. There are those who are catching us live from the diaspora. We are so humble. Those who are catching us from Kenya, from Somalia, so humble. The number is limitless in there. We are so humble to see that you guys are watching us live. It has been me, Zero, the host of the show. I did have my friends in the names of Bona PJ, where we do come from, the same land, the land of wise men, down from Terego, is right here with me. Bona PJ, you last one before we leave the studio for the next program to come in.
Oh, like I said, it was an interesting and amazing moment to be live on Sunrise TV, and I believe those who we are watching us have enjoyed the whole thing. But at the end of the day, what I'll request them to do is to share. You know, that sharing aspect gives them as well the mileage and so on. So I believe we shall get more time and also do the same. I want to say continue following Sunrise TV.
There's one big guy here. He's called Sabian Man, that boy. He seems to be a very big fan of you. He is actually giving you uploads here on our social media actual handles him here. He's saying that he loves you so much on the mic.
I'm humbled, my guy.
It's fine. We are out of here. Up next is our completing program that will be coming up next. We're out of here. Bye-bye.
nation, our future, Uganda, and believe in the beautiful game of football in Uganda. We believe in our mother body, Fufa, Fufa. When the boys and girls aspire to become stars, to become stars.